right, it is time for the March video update. So for those of you that are joining for the first time, what I typically do is talk about some guns and some gear and some blades and that sort of thing, as well as some of the books that I choose from my monthly reading list. So we'll do some of that on this video update. But first, it's a new format too. I'm in my new office here and feeling very comfortable, surrounded by my weapons, and then I have my books on the other side over there. So surrounded by all these things that I love. Yeah, new format. Thank you to Logan Stark for recommending me giving this a different, a new perspective here. Speaking of Logan and Black Rifle Coffee Company, check out the exclusive coffee cup subscription for this month, which is Power Llama Coffee. So you can subscribe to this and get a different roast every month. It's just awesome. So very cool. Thanks, guys. Sincerely appreciated. And let's do some negative reviews, because that's always fun. So this first one, this comes from Amazon, and this one is a 1-star, not a verified purchase. But this says, this is a right-wing manifesto that the author is using to blatantly push his political agenda. The characters are two-dimensional with comic book depth. A little bit elitist there. The authors, well, misspelling, but the author should run for office instead of writing. No chance. So many other authors in the genre that are head and shoulders above Carr. Well, that's kind of you. Thank you. Here we go. This one is a verified purchase. 1-star. I enjoyed this genre and really, really wanted to like this new author, character, and series. Sadly, Lieutenant Commander Carr has sided up with QAnon for a double shot of Kool-Aid. Wow. Hints were offered in the preface when he warned of, quote, revisionist views of the Constitution by opportunistic politicians and unelected judges, unquote. That is true. I did say that, and it is true. A popular theme, but I'm guessing his focus is distorted by the lens of a young man growing up with repeated deployments, repeated disengagement with American society, and a growing chauvinism about what America is lacking or needs. I put the book down, and I would encourage you not to buy it. Interesting. Well, yeah. Everybody has a voice, and that's wonderful. That's what it's all about here. Okay. Here we go, another one here, and this is not a verified purchase either. It says, my personal theory is that Carr is using his platform as an author to promote his own politics, which are well served by showing how tyrannical the federal government is for punishing a decorated soft veteran by redacting parts of a book he's written while trying to make an honest living. So, yeah, I would encourage you to visit some of the transcripts from the church hearings in the mid-'70s about overreach of the federal government bill. Fascinating stuff. But here we go. Last one. 1-star. Verified purchase. Missing pages. The book was missing pages 55 to 86. That's a bummer. I actually feel really bad about that one. Maybe not give the author 1-star for whoever messed up the printing, but that is a bummer when you get to someplace in a book and it's missing. But I would encourage you to let Amazon know, and you probably don't even need to send it back. Just tell them it's missing the pages, and they'll probably just send you a new one. So that's yeah, do that. Sorry, I hate when that happens, but anyway, yeah, 1-star. So if you want to counter the 1-stars, go to Amazon, leave a review. Any of your favorite authors would sincerely appreciate it. I know I would. And thank you so much for the continued support on there. It's fun to go through. And if you're an aspiring author or writer, I wouldn't spend too much time looking at reviews. I do it more for fun. I certainly don't change anything that I'm doing because of what someone says in a review. I read them more as commentary on society, and I find it fascinating that people take their time, sometimes a lot of time, to write multiple paragraphs about just being mean and nasty. And it's not just me, that every author has somebody like that in their review section, but it's just fascinating to me that people would take the time when we only have a finite amount of it, and you don't know how much you're going to get. You only have one ride on this planet, but to take that time and consciously decide to use it to try to ruin somebody else's day or to be negative, I don't know. I just find that fascinating, and it gives me good stuff to work into character development in future novels. So, all right, let's see. What am I going to do here? So, speaking of books, The Devil's Hand comes out April 13th. And in an effort to drive traffic to independent bookstores, I know it's super easy to hit buy on Amazon, but last year around this time when I had Savage Sun coming out, I did a limited edition signed bookplate that you could only get through certain independent bookstores. And I want to try to push traffic to those independent local bookstores because they didn't have foot traffic. In a lot of cases, they were completely shut down back then, last April. And this year, depending on what state you're in, they might still be completely shut down. So I wanted to send as much business towards independent bookstores as I possibly could. So it was a big success last year, doing it again this year. And this year, the bookplate is really cool. It was designed by Chris Hunt, who wrote Carver, A Paris Story, and he's now at Black Rifle Coffee in their Skunk Works section. So what's the Skunk Works section, you may ask? You're gonna have to Google it. But they're doing some awesome things over there. Chris Hunt, amazing guy. This comic book right here, graphic novel right here, is awesome. And yeah, I hope he does another one. So talented, but he designed the bookplate, and it's a throwback to the 80s. So for those of you that grew up with G.I. Joe, it's a G.I. Joe inspired bookplate that you can only get through these certain independent bookstores, which are on the blog on my website. I posted it last Friday. There's 10 bookstores, and I think there's only 2 left right now that might have a couple of those. So once again, Chris, thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate all the work you did on that, and it is awesome. I have a poster of it that I'm going to frame and put in probably a future office, because this is a temporary space right here. So thank you. All right, just going around the room. Next, Clint Emerson, former SEAL, awesome guy, does 100 Deadly Skills, has some great stuff out there. Just sent this today. So right before I started this video, this arrived. Very cool. Thank you. And what else arrived? This blade. And this thing is legit. So thank you so much for sending this. It says Outlaw, made in the USA. Nice. This thing is solid. So thank you so much for sending this. It's an awesome blade. You know how I feel about knives, and looking forward to seeing you soon and having you on my podcast. Speaking of podcast, I have a podcast. It's called Danger Close, Beyond the Books with Jager. And I figured I have so many amazing conversations just normally in the course of going about my life. I figured let's do a podcast and get those out there so everybody can benefit. So that's up right now. By the time you are listening to this, you should be able to go to iTunes or my YouTube page or whatever else, and you can subscribe, which would be awesome. So, and thank you to SIG and to Ironclad for making it happen. So, and what was so cool about SIG coming on board is that Jason Wright and Tom Taylor over there, Ron Cohen, CEO, everybody's just been amazing to me over the years. Well before I had any sort of platform or a book or anything else. And they called me to say, hey, we just want to be part of this journey, and don't feel like you have to hold up SIG products. Don't feel like you have to say something good about SIG products. Just, we just want to be a part of this. And yeah, so very cool. Thank you guys so much. Sincerely appreciated. And of course, I'm going to say something good about the SIG P226 because it was on my side for every deployment. And what's super cool is that SIG sent me this. And this is a 50th anniversary edition of the 226. And it is just awesome. It has a trident right there. You can see that. And Only Easy Day was yesterday. I've heard that somewhere before. And there we go. 1962 to 2012, 50th anniversary edition. So this was on my side for every deployment. So it has if you followed me for a while, you know that it has a place near and dear to my heart. So very cool, SIG. Thank you, not just for this and not just for sponsoring the podcast, but for being such great friends over the years. So much appreciated. Awesome. All right, what's next? I'm going to switch over to a book here. Boswell's War by Stephen Hunter. So Stephen Hunter, amazing guy, wrote Point of Impact, which introduced us to Bob Lee Swagger. It became the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, directed by Antoine Fuqua, who is also directing the first episode of The Terminal List. So that's pretty cool too. But this is his newest one. It comes out May 6th, I think, May 4th or 6th. Yeah, May 4th. And this is a galley copy, so kind of like this. They come out before the hardcover editions. And so, Stephen, I know you're not on social media, but thank you so much for sending this to me. I cannot wait to sit down, turn off all the electronic devices, sit down with a nice whiskey or a coffee if it's the morning, and read this. So incredible. thank you so much. And what else he sent, and this is cool, from Mysterious Bookshop, and this is Stephen Hunter's personal edition. So this just means so much to me. And I didn't even know these existed. So they did these, like Lee Child did one. Who else did one here? Michael Connolly did one, Robert B. Parker. So it talks about their characters, kind of the inspiration, at least this one does, the inspiration behind Bob Lee Swagger. And this is really cool, so special to me. Thank you so much for sending it. It's gonna treasure this forever. So very cool. Let's go on to this. Oh, you know what? We just talked about Antoine Fuqua. What an amazing guy. So he directed Training Day, Tears of the Sun, Magnificent Seven, Shooter, Equalizer. Just an incredible guy. Not just an amazing director, of course, but just a great person. And he's directing the first episode of The Terminal List. And speaking of The Terminal List, they started filming about a week and a half ago. So update, Chris Pratt is crushing it, as I knew he would. And they've got such an amazing cast out there putting this thing together. It could not be in better hands. Some of my SEAL buddies are out there that I came up with in the teams that are friends of mine, are out there doing the technical advising right now. One of them, Jared Shaw, awesome, I can say your name now because you're about to have it be up there, is playing one of these characters. So it's just amazing. And Jared is the reason that that Chris Pratt got The Terminal List before it even came out, and optioned it and got us on this path that we're on today with the filming underway. So absolutely incredible. So very cool. That's your Terminal List update. And very cool, the cast members who reached out to me, and said, it was just so cool. Just if you go back in my Instagram a little bit, swipe down, you'll see some of these other people that are in there. Gene Triplehorn, you'll see Taylor Kitsch, you'll see Constance Wu. So it's just an incredible cast they've put together. Riley's in there. It's just an incredible group of people, and I'm just speechless about it, as you can tell. So very cool. Anyway, that's underway. More updates later. Look at this, Putin Young. I think I found these guys first through social media. They have some amazing pictures. If you're not following them and you're a whiskey person, you're a cigar person, you should do so. And I was, maybe I found them, I think I was researching whiskeys that were, companies that were started by veterans, that sort of thing. And I found these guys, and I asked former Delta Force. And so I called my buddy Larry Vickers, and I'm like, hey, what's up with these guys? And he's like, they're legit. So anyway, then I was drinking their whiskey, and maybe he'll make it into the Terminal List series. And you never know what's going to make it past that editing room floor. So who knows if it makes it to the final cut or not. But anyway, great guys, incredible whiskey. And I think I'm on my third or fourth bottle, but very cool. And they do cigars. So if you're a cigar person, and check this out, look at the box. Nice, look at that. Oh yeah. And talks a little bit about, who's making these things, and there they are right there, and just very cool. So they're doing an amazing job. And I love that when veterans get out, leave time, turn that page, leave the military behind, and follow that next passion in life, which for these guys, cigars and whiskey. So obviously my kind of people. All right, what else? Here we go. Merchandise. I get a lot of questions about when hats are coming back, when cups are, when the merch site's going to be back up and running, and answer, soon. So it's getting a revamp and some new items. So I think what's going to happen is some limited edition drops throughout the year or something along those lines. So should come out in the next month or so, and merch will be back up and running soon. Better than ever. Speaking of merch, Fieldcraft Survival. Yeah, they moved out here. They are in Heber, Utah now. Moved out from Arizona. Very cool that they did that, because now we're essentially neighbors. Mike Glover out there, if you're not following him in Fieldcraft Survival, do so. But Mike designed this shirt like crazy, right? So I thought, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. This thing is legit. This is my new favorite shirt. I've never been as excited about a shirt before. But you can wrinkle this thing up, throw it in the bottom of your backpack. Comes out looking just like this. Ask me how I know, because that's how I got it home. But loving this thing. He designed it when he was doing his CIA stuff. And this, yeah, legit shirt. And speaking of clothing, right here, Off the Grid jeans. These things, awesome. I used to carry guns and knives everywhere. Now it's Sharpies, which could be a weapon as well. But yeah, Off the Grid jeans, got some stretch in them. So thank you guys. Been wearing those for the last couple months. And yeah, they're legit. So awesome. What else? Eric Bishop. Look at this. So Eric Bishop is an author who has his first novel coming out soon. It's called The Body Man, and I'll let you know when that comes out. But look at that. Very cool. The Devil's Hand, Jack Carr, Guinness. Thank you so much. Eric, appreciate you doing that. It means a lot to me. So very cool. And I'll be letting you know when his book hits shelves, which is not too long from now. So giveaways. Giveaways started January with the Aries watch, Matt Graham. So that one went out in January. Eberly stock went out for February. And for March, the Dynamis Summer Blade, SMR Blade. Why is it called the Summer Blade? Because you can wear it with your board shorts. And check out that clip. Look how mean that clip is. Yeah, sweet. So you can wear this with like to the gym or, you know, whatever. So, and this thing will stay on there. So this is the giveaway. So all you have to do is go to my post from Sunday and make a comment. Follow me, follow Dynamis. This is designed by my buddy Dom Rosso out there at Dynamis. So follow Dynamis, follow me, make a comment on Sunday's post. And if you can't find it, it's the one that has an American flag with that on it. And sign up for my newsletter, sign up for the Dynamis newsletter, and then you could win this. And I'll announce the winner in April. And also this thing, look at that. You can have a beer with it too. Dual purpose technology. I like it. All right. Yeah, I think we are on to the books. So each month I pick 6 books that some are from a professional reading list that I was asked to put together for the Naval Special Warfare Center before I left the military, and others are books that just influenced me at some point along my journey, either as a combat leader or as an author. So typically I choose 6 books each month, and these are them for this month. So let's start right here. Actually, let's start right here. And you can find out more about these on my website, on the blog, and I'll go into a little more detail there. But this is Fraternity of the Stone. And once again, if you followed me for a while, you knew what a big fan I am of David Morrell, who created the character Rambo with the publication of First Blood back in 1972. I discovered him through, the novelization of Rambo First Blood Part 2 after I saw the movie in 1985. Read the book and wanted to read everything I possibly could by this amazing author, who's now a friend and just an incredible human being. But after I read Rambo, First Blood Part 2, then I read The Brotherhood of the Rose. And there's one sentence in there that cemented me on my path into the SEAL team. And I'm not going to tell you what sentence that is. You're going to have to read it. But The Fraternity of the Stone was the next one. And it stands alone. But if you read it in conjunction with Brotherhood of the Rose first, and then after this one, The League of Night and Fog, it becomes a trilogy. So it's just fascinating how David did that. Once again, an amazing guy. I still remember at the beginning of this, the first action sequence in here, I learned about where the word assassin came from. And this is the mid to late 80s. Like I read this in, I don't know, 87 or 88, somewhere in there maybe. But right around that time anyway. Learned so much from reading David's books. And so this one, definitely pick this up, but read Brotherhood of the Rose first, and then follow this with The League of Night and Fog. Incredible. So thank you, David. Amazing. Jager. Bam. This was one of my most memorable reading experiences of the 80s, of that decade. And I read this after I read The Right Stuff by Tom Wolfe. Also saw the movie, of course, The Right Stuff, but in which Chuck Jager has a cameo. Do you remember that part? Check it out if you haven't seen it. See if you can pick out Chuck Jager. You'll be able to, by the way. But yeah, amazing. From World War II to breaking the sound barrier. This is just incredible. And if you have kids in junior high, in high school, I highly recommend you gifting them this book. It's probably on Audible. I'm not sure. I'm more of a physical book person, but it's probably on Audible as well, or audiobook. So you can gift them that as well. But it will instill an appreciation for what this generation did for us, so that we could have the options, opportunities, and freedoms that we enjoy today, that we have today. So it's all due to men like this and people who stood up and went across the beaches at Normandy and waited for that landing craft to fall and to head on into that surf zone, onto that beach with no cover or concealment as they got pounded by machine guns from elevated positions. So yeah, those are the types of people that allowed us to be here doing what we're doing today. So definitely get this for your kids. And if you haven't read it yourself, read it. And Chuck Yeager passed away not too long ago. What an amazing life he had. So Jager, and maybe revisit it if you read it back then. I intend to do so at some point soon. Okay, Rifleman Dodd. So I think it's called Death to the French. This was published first as Death to the French. But I didn't read this until I was the officer in charge of the junior officer training course before I left the military. And this book is legit. You can read it in about an hour, you can tell right there. But they're in the late 90s, I don't know exactly what year, but the 31st Commandant of the Marine Corps chose this as one of his books. Now they have, the Commandant's reading list, of course, with multiple books for different ranks recommended anyway, that sort of thing. But this one was the one that went to all Marines. And it's about someone who gets separated from his unit, and instead of just surviving, he prevails. He continues on his mission, stacking bodies, waging guerrilla warfare as he works his way back to his unit. So instead of just hiding as he went, trying to get back, no, he brings it. And yeah, this is legit. Not just for people going to the military, but just for anybody that is looking for a book on leadership, on commitment, on staying the course, on getting up when you're knocked down. Read it. Rifleman Dodd. This should be in your library. Louis L'Amour, Haunted Mesa. So this one I read after I read Last of the Breed, and if you've read Savage Son and read the acknowledgments in Savage Son, you'll know that Last of the Breed was a very influential book to me. But I read this next, and I learned so much from this book. It was such a great experience. Once again, I read it in the 80s. This is like the books, book selections that I read during the 80s, except for Rifleman Dodd there. But Louis L'Amour, Haunted Mesa, such a great experience reading this book. I remember exactly where I was when I was reading it. Learned so much about the Four Corners area, ancient civilizations. Such a well-written book. Learned about Zane Grey and Riders of the Purple Sage because of a mention in this book, which is probably why I incorporate other authors and their works into my books to develop characters and add a little local flavor depending on how I incorporate it. So very cool. So Louis L'Amour, Haunted Mesa. If you haven't read any Louis L'Amour stuff, not a bad place to start. But this and Last of the Breed really stood out to me as I was growing up. The Outsiders, S.E. Hinton. Okay, I read this one, to the best of my recollection, was between 8th and 9th grade. And I remember this being a little darker than other novels I had been assigned up to that point. It was on our summer reading list. And I can't remember if I saw the movie first. The movie, of course, has Tom Cruise, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, just a crazy, Ralph Macchio's in there. Just an amazing cast. And S.E. Hinton wrote this when she was 16 years old. And it was published when she was 18. Incredible. So after I read this, I read Rumblefish and Text and saw those movies as well. So I haven't read it since between the summer between 8th grade and 9th grade, if memory serves. And looking forward to going back and reading this again. Now, this is not my original copy, which I have most of the books that I read throughout my life I've held on to, so I'm sure that my original copy is in my mom's attic somewhere, and I'm looking forward to finding it at some point. Another one I read about that same time, the Iliad. So this was freshman year in high school that we studied this. This is not my original copy. My original copy must be in that box with The Outsiders, and I can't wait to find it because I want to see what passages I underlined, what notes I made. So I've got to track that old book down at some point. But I've had many copies over the years, and this is one of the original thrillers. So this, the Odyssey, and in high school we read this, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, the Bible, Epic of Gilgamesh, Beowulf. So we read those classics back then. And if I was to read this again, if I was to sit down, I really want to do it with someone. I was lucky in high school to have teachers that really knew what they were doing. But I'd like to go and take a course on the Iliad, on the Odyssey, on all those books I just mentioned. But sit down with someone who has made it their life's work to study these early, in this case, an oral tradition attributed to Homer. There's some great stuff about that out there as well. You can find a lot of it online. There's other books about it, but amazing. So here it is, one of the earliest thrillers right here. Okay, what else? I think that is about everything. We talked about the podcast, which should be up and running. Talked about the Terminal List, which is filming, and talked about the Devil's Hand, which is coming April 13th. And I think that's it. So thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate all the support. Means the world to me. And yeah, stay strong out there. Be safe. And as always, keep fighting.